Lagers, on the other hand, require 4 weeks of refrigerated aging. This can be a problem when you have to share your refrigerator with food. Beer begins with water. Here in the Bay Area near San Francisco, our tap water is good, so we're going to use that. If your tap water tastes good, use it. But remember that any off flavors in your water are going to carry over to your finished beer. If you have to use bottled water, use spring water. Don't use distilled water. Distilled water lacks the minerals needed for a good brew. Malt is the heart of beer. For this batch, we'll start with 6 pounds of American Light. She'll get a light malt extract with a light amber color. 6 pounds will produce 5 gallons of wort with a starting gravity about 1.040. This will give us 5 gallons of beer with a final alcohol of about 3.8% by volume. Without hops, beer would be an insipid beverage, sweet and mild, without a trace of refreshing, spicy bitterness. Hops are available in well over a dozen varieties, all of them different in flavor and aroma. Use hops like a cook uses spices, feeling free to blend different varieties for your own unique flavor. Good pairings of hops include Northern Brewer and Cascade, Hallertau and Saaz, Mount Hood and Northern Brewer. There's a lot of good pairings, and part of the fun of home brewing is finding through experimentation which hops you like. For this ale, I want a medium bitterness. We'll use 1.5 ounces of Northern Brewer, which have a nice minty flavor at the beginning of the boil. And then to add aroma, we'll use a 1/2 ounce of Cascade, which have a nice floral aroma at the end to restore the aroma and give it a nice floral bouquet. You can buy both whole and pelletized hops. We're using pelletized hops today because they're easier to measure. Yeast is responsible for fermentation, considered a magical process in ancient times. Yeast takes sugar from your malt and produces carbon dioxide and CO2. There are many different types of strains of yeast available, and each one produces a different flavor. Some will give you a drier beer, others more sweet. Yeast is available in liquid and dry form. For this batch, I want the best, so I'm using the more expensive English brewery ale, which is a liquid culture. Liquid yeast must be started about 2 days in advance by smashing the pack to release nutrients from a pouch inside. When the pack swells, the yeast is ready. Dry yeast can be prepared immediately before brewing. It's less expensive than liquid yeast and works almost as well. Just before we bottle the beer, we'll prime it by adding 4.5 ounces of corn sugar. This gives the yeast a little extra food, which helps it produce carbonating carbon dioxide gas in the cap bottle. It's vital to sterilize everything that comes in contact with the beer. This is especially important in the period before fermentation starts. Wort is extremely receptive to bacteria. Even your breath can contaminate it and give you a sour tasting beer that won't hurt you, but it'll taste bad. This is probably the biggest problem most brewers have. A plastic jug is ideal for holding sterilant solution. To make up a good sterilant solution, just mix 1 tablespoon of bleach with 1/2 gallon of water. To sterilize something, just rinse it in your sterilant solution. Just rinse it briefly. Drain your sterilant out, and then rinse it with water to get rid of the chlorine bleach traces. Cover what you sterilized until you need it. Don't forget to cap your sterilant jug. Okay, it's time to start the brew. We've got our equipment ready, our ingredients are measured out, and everything is sterilized. The first step is to prepare the yeast. If you're using liquid yeast, you'll need to start it at least 2 days in advance of brewing by striking the packet with the palm of your hand. The yeast quickly multiplies, becoming active enough to ferment 5 gallons of wort. You can see how this one, started 3 days ago, is swollen and ready. You may choose to use dry yeast. Dry yeast has a longer shelf life and is much easier to prepare. Just mix the contents of 1 packet with a cupful of 95-degree water and stir.